Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. My name is Abigail Humans.
And I'm Emily Rojas. The Redirect Podcast is a show where we shift the conversation back to books. We discuss themes from some of our favorite fictional books and how those themes show up in real lived experiences.
On today's episode, we're discussing the books that helped shape us into the people we are today.
But first, if you're enjoying the podcast, we would humbly ask that you support us in just a few simple ways. The first is just leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let us know how much you love our show. We know you do, so just go ahead and drop that review.
Yes. And we'd also love for you to follow us on Instagram at Redirect Podcasts. And finally, if you really, really, really like the show, we'd love for you to share it with a friend. Sharing our show with a friend is by far the best way to help us grow our community of book-loving nerds. And if you follow us on Instagram, there's a possibility that if you DM us one of your favorite books, we will talk about it.
We do that often.
We don't have that many episode ideas. We don't. We've used a lot of our good episode ideas, so if you have ideas for things you want us to talk about,
send them. We're always looking for new
probably
ideas.
Talk about it. Anyways, Emily,
Abigail.
How's your summer going?
So far, so lame. Isn't this like the worst summer ever? Not really. Well, no, like I just feel like I haven't gone anywhere. I went on a work trip to St. Louis. That was actually nice. I will say I was pleasantly surprised. Shout out St. Louis.
And you went to a cool bookstore, right?
I went to a super cool bookstore there. Upon reading the reviews, turns out they have like a insane owner. So I would say go with caution because, she wasn't there whenever I went. So I can't really attest to that experience, but there are several, negative reviews about their experiences with this lady. But it's called the Book House in Maplewood, Missouri, which is a few minutes outside of St. Louis. It was like, I could have spent hours in there. They had, like, the way the books were organized just clicked with my brain. Like, they had old books, but new books together, but it made sense. And, like, you could see, if there's a more famous book like Pride and Prejudice or something, they might have a brand new copy of it, but then they would have like old copies of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it would all be there together. So it was really cool. So yeah, they had like a good mix of reused, resold, rethrifted, whatever books, but also brand new books.
Oh,
I
like
bought
that.
Several. Eric bought several, and now he's becoming back into reading.
We'll have to have him on the pod.
I know. He just finished Bryan Cranston's autobiography, which was actually sounded really interesting. He was kind of recapping it to me. And now he's reading a book about the history of Mexico, and he bought like 5 more. So I don't know if those are really appealing to our audience. But
He's more of a nonfiction
he's very nerdy,
girly.
nonfiction girly. But yeah, we each bought a lot of books. So I'm working my way through them. It was a great place. So yeah, I mean, it's been an okay summer. I just feel like no beach.
Yeah.
What is a summer without the beach, And
I don't know, because I've been to the beach multiple times. But
a lot of work. So a lot of work, no beach. Yeah, pain. But
and it's
here.
crazy because like people are going, I guess, back to school now, and it feels like we're just in honestly like the beginning of summer. Like
it feels like
for
it.
LA,
It flew by.
For LA, this is like the actual beginning of like when the summer. It feels like summer.
Yeah. That's kind of weird.
It takes a while to heat up, and then it takes a really long time to cool down. So I feel like from now until October is actually going to be like the
summer
thick of
vibes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. Well, make your own summer.
Yeah. Anyways, summer reading, nostalgia, etc. We decided to do the books that built us. So, Emily, context behind this idea. What does it mean if a book built us?
I feel like it means a book that you read in a formative time in your life that made a lasting impact on you, and you can trace like things that you either value or think or did or some kind of impact on your life now, or, kind of shaped you as you were becoming an adult. So for me, it's a book I read, maybe late elementary, early middle. I feel like that's a really formative time in your life. That in some way influenced me in my life beyond just reading a book. It impacted me in some way, or it just made a lasting impression.
It's like a canon event.
Yes, a canon event of a book. definitely. What about, is that like, do you feel the same way
Yeah,
about the
similar.
definition?
The books that I pulled out for this were also like middle school or early high school.
Hmm.
It could have traumatized you in some way.
Yes, often.
And honestly, when I was going back through the books I picked, it's funny what I remember about them now isn't necessarily totally true to what they are. And there's lots of pieces of them that I
Yes.
missed.
Yes.
And then now through an adult lens, I'm like, God, I wish that that's what I would have
Yes.
held on to.
Very similar experience.
So yeah, let's jump into it. What's the first book for you that is like a book that built you?
Okay, so mine's less of a book and more of an extensive series, and it is, you know it, The Babysitter's Club by Ann M. Martin,
Ayo.
which I don't think you've ever read, if I recall.
I think I've read like one of them. My sister had
it
a
didn't
bunch.
imprint on you.
And so my sister had a bunch. She's quite a bit older than me.
Yeah.
And
I think they were a little before our time in
Yeah.
terms of their popularity.
So she was like an 80s baby. I was a 90s
Yeah.
baby. The reason I didn't read them was because the copies that she had looked like they were from the 80s.
Well,
because
yeah,
they were.
They all do.
And so I was like, oh, ew.
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
going to read it.
definitely.
But I really regret that I didn't.
Okay, so The Babysitter's Club, if you don't know, it is by Ann M. Martin ish. And I say ish because out of 213 published novels in the series, and yes, you heard that right, 213.
213.
213. She thinks she wrote at least 60 to 80 of those. So the bulk, but there were several ghostwriters who came in.
Okay.
And basically, this is a fascinating look into the publishing world, which I think this is maybe a facet that exists. But basically, this editor at Scholastic, her name was Jean Fywell, and she kind of saw this one babysitting book called Katie's Babysitting Job. It did really well. It sold a lot of copies. And so she was like, I think there is a market for babysitting, like young adult children's chapter books. So she kind of called Ann M. Martin and was like, hey, I have an idea for a book series about a babysitter's club. Can you write it? So it wasn't even Ann M. Martin who was like pitching herself as a writer for the books. They actually approached her and she started the plot, the characters, the setting, all of that, and initially wrote a 4-book series arc, which then were pretty successful. Scholastic ordered 2 more and then 12 more. And then somehow that got to 213.
So of the 213, how many do you think you've read?
I don't even know.
And like,
lot.
how are they the same characters? Or
Yes.
like,
Okay.
so it's
they
just like
all-
every day of their life.
Kind of. Okay, so here's the Babysitter's Club, and it is just mwah, chef's kiss. So Christy is kind of the main character. She's the one who starts it off. Every book will take place, for the most part, with some exceptions. It will take place in one character's POV, and then there'll be another character POV. So it's not all from the same perspective.
Okay.
But Christy is the first. The first book is Christy's Big Idea. And she's like bossy, tomboy, sporty. They're all stereotypes of teenage or young girls. They're about 12, 13. She is like super in control, the boss. And
So it's
she
like-
has this idea.
It's like you could wear glasses or be cool.
Yes. She is tomboy. Christy is tomboy.
That's her job.
Yes. And her job is tomboy.
Her Ken job is tomboy.
So she has a single mom, and one day she witnesses her mom like really struggling to find childcare. And she's like, there should be a babysitter's club where you call one number and they will find you a babysitter, essentially. So she starts this babysitter's club with her best friend, Marianne, who is like shy, naive, braid, like a quiet, mousy, booky girl. And they meet together with this other girl named Claudia. And her house is like the headquarters for the Babysitter's Club because she has her own phone line, very critical. No cell phones in this day and age. And so she has a phone in her room. And also Claudia's weird thing, she's like artsy, fashion, and she her thing is she hides junk food in her room, which was so cool as a kid because she would pull out this like hidden book from her shelf and the contraption would open up and there'd be like chips and candy bars in there. But now as an adult, I'm like, that is so gross. She had junk food stuffed all over her room. And then the last of the core four, there are several other characters, but there's the core four. Stacey McGill, she's from New York. She is cool. She moved to this small town in Connecticut with her family. But obviously being from the city, she is, elite. And she also had diabetes, which was her thing. And I remember when I was doing the research for this, it brought it all back because they made diabetes. I know diabetes obviously is a serious disease, but they made it sound like she was like on the brink of death at any point.
It's like Nick Jonas, how everyone thought Nick Jonas was going to die.
Exactly. And it's probably because of these books, because they made it seem like if she has one bite of chocolate, she'll go into a coma kind of thing. So, it was a bit extreme.
Can I just jump in here and say, from what you've described so far, these came out in like the 80s, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. This feels on track with like all of the 80s diets and like
probably
eating disorders.
Yeah.
Like hoarding food in your room because you're not allowed to have junk food.
Probably, yeah.
Like, oh, you have diabetes, you're going to die if you eat like a scrap of like this just this just makes sense. It just makes sense. Influenced. It fits with the culture.
Yeah. So that's basically the vibe. So every episode kind of starts the same with them meeting in Claudia's room, having a meeting about any business they have. They all have roles like treasurer, vice president, president. And they eventually have younger kids who are like 10, who are like junior members, and they can go like babysit with one of the older girls, but they can't go by themselves. They made these things called kid kits, which was a fire idea. They would have like a box with like puzzles, stickers, coloring books, anything a kid could play with, and they would bring these to their babysitting jobs. I always thought that was genius because, I mean, to be fair, kids have toys at home, but it's kind of like a fun little activity thing that they would it was an extra added layer of, selling themselves as the Babysitters Club.
Would the parents pay the club, or they
would pay the club, and then the club would pay out to its members?
Oh, so if you and me were in the club, and you got hired for a job or whatever, then like the president of the club would get it, and I would get a cut too.
I think so. I don't really recall the specifics of the financial, but they did have like a treasurer, and maybe they paid dues to the club, and then they used those to buy other things like the kid kit supplies. I don't really recall, but it was something like that.
Wow. So really, I mean, this is like the original Girl Boss.
It is the original Girl Boss, the original girl entrepreneur.
Yeah.
How it impacted me though, the main thing is just that, first of all, I really wanted to start a babysitters club. I tried. I passed out flyers, and I found out that it's a felony to put mail into people's mailboxes. Okay. But, I was 12, so how was I to know that that's not allowed? And it wasn't nearly as successful as these people, but it definitely, babysitting was my primary job until, honestly, I finished college. Like, every summer I would go home and babysit, multiple days a week or nanny or whatever.
Same.
Make tons of money doing that, like, have a rotation of families. So I feel like it started with these books, though, like, making me feel like I could do it. And what's crazy looking back is how young they all were. They were like 12, 13. I always thought of them as so old when I was reading it.
I know.
And one of them, Marianne, actually has a boyfriend, and they go steady. His name's Logan.
Oh,
he's
wow.
also an honorary member of the club. But it's like, wow, now I'm like a 13-year-old with a boyfriend.
It's crazy.
It's just weird to think about.
Yeah, I was getting hired for my first babysitting gigs at like 12.
Oh, I think
there is
all the
no
time.
Way I would hire a 12-year-old to watch my kids now. I mean, no judgment to people who are listening who do that.
Some judgment.
I mean, my niece is turning 12 in April. And so she's 11. So she's getting close. But I see her as a kid.
Yes.
Like, I am like, you need a babysitter.
Yes.
Like,
Well, when I was like 12 or 13, still very young, I had a family who tried to hire me to watch their like 6-week-old baby. And I was like, I had to make my mom tell them no, because I'm like, I'm 12. I don't know what to do with a 6-week-old. You know, I could definitely handle, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, older kids. But I mean, infant baby? What was I supposed to do? It's just insane. Yeah, I can't imagine trusting my children to. I think my first job, I was like 11. I can't fathom that. But I'm really thankful for the people who did, because I made a good bit of money. I was able to buy a car after graduating college. So shout out to you guys for paying me. But that's how it impacted me, though. And there's such a great book series. I think they also really helped inspire my love of reading. Like, they're just a book series where you don't really have to read them in order necessarily. You can kind of just pick up any book. Once you know the premise, it's not really like an ongoing plot. And then they also have super specials, which span multiple books. So those you do have to read in order. And mystery books. And then there's a spinoff when they're older. So there's just so many iterations of these that it was something you can always count on. You can go find a new version of the Babysitter's Club, at the library, because there's 200 books. So there's always going to be something you haven't read.
It's like the original Care.com.
Exactly.
Babysitter's Club walked that Care.com could run.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the idea, I get it. It makes sense. Parent having to call 10 different babysitters, or they could just call one number and know they're going to get someone. That makes perfect sense to me. So shout out to Christy for that idea.
Wow. I love that for you.
Yeah. Thank you. What's your first book that you picked as the book that built you?
Well, my first book is The Care and Keeping of You from the American Girl Library. Our listeners can't see it, but I checked it out from the library and I'm holding it up right now. So I'm
shaking just seeing the cover.
I'm shaking. So on the cover of this book are 3 teen girls wrapped in towels that they just got out of the shower. And this is the body book for girls. Now, this book was published in 1998.
Wow,
which
really
is earlier than I thought.
Me too. That's kind of shocking.
And on the reread, I didn't closely read it. I mean, it's not that long. It's like 20 pages. But on the rescan of this book, after I picked it up from the library an hour ago, I was like, wow, this was published in 1998. It was so ahead of its time.
Really?
Almost every woman who was a girl in the early to mid 2000s has some sort of experience with this book.
Correct.
And young women to this day are still going through the canon event of sitting in their rooms and their mom comes in and hands them this book and tells them to read it.
Yes.
And this, like, it has stood the test of time. It is like part of the American female experience. So, this is not just my book. This belongs to all of us.
Our book.
Yeah. So nowadays, so this is the original, the OG that I got from the library is the body book for girls, but now they have a body book for older girls and one for younger girls. I have not read those, but, anyways, it sold millions of copies. And as recently as 2016, it was on bestseller lists.
Really?
Yes. This is how much crazy. Parents don't want to talk to their kids about puberty.
That is so true. That's so true, unfortunately.
So everyone remembers this book. Everyone who does remember this book remembers it because of 2 things: boobs and tampons.
Yes.
That's all I remembered. That was literally all I remembered. There's like a chart in the book that shows you. Here, I'll open it up to that page so that you have to look at it.
Honestly,
too.
I think I blocked this part out, but please show me.
Oh my God. So I'll get to the other. This book is actually a lot more than just puberty. But of course, that's all I remembered about it. So you'll see here on page, if the listeners are following along, on page 44 and 45, the development of the breast.
Oh, that's an interesting way to show that.
5 stages of the development of the human breast. I specifically remember like looking at my, little baby boobs in the mirror and like trying to figure out which stage I was at. And then just being like, I read in here that, here's a sentence that shook me to my core when I was 11. Most girls reach stage 5, which is like the final stage, about 4 to 5 years after their breasts begin developing, or around age 17 or 18. And I was like, hell no. I'm not waiting until I'm 17 or 18 to get my boobs. Anyways,
well, what's interesting is like the diagram isn't just a diagram. It's showing like a girl brushing her teeth with no shirt on, a girl drying her hair with no shirt on,
right.
a girl doing like tasks but just shirtless in the mirror. It's like, why did they do it like that?
Right.
But it works.
And you know what? Unfortunately, the thing, I think the reason that what I do remember about this book was like the things that were really mysterious to me, like getting boobs, it talks about, you know, shaving your underarms. It talks about
the things you had questions about.
Yeah, getting pubic hair, starting your period, stuff like that. And that stuff felt very shameful and secret to me because this was the mid-2000s and it was secret and shameful and people didn't talk about it and you didn't have words for it. And so now when I reread this as an adult, I was thinking about like how in so many ways it was ahead of its time. It talks about consent. It names all of the anatomy on the body. It talks about also like, hey, this is about taking care of yourself, from like brushing your hair to keeping your nails clean to exercising and drinking water and like, and all of that stuff, like whatever. It's like, hey, you know, you don't have to be an athlete. Just move your body in a way that feels good to you. Or it'd be like, if you're hungry, eat food. If you're thirsty, drink food. And it specifically says that eating should be pleasurable and not like just something that you do because you have to do it.
Wow.
And I'm like, God, why couldn't I remember that?
I know.
Why didn't I remember that part? Like,
yeah, that did not stick out. I probably didn't read that section, to be honest with you. I was like, boring.
They talked about eating disorders and like going to counseling and like mental health. And then when I talked about shaving your underarms, it was like, hey, like some people like doing this. You can do it if you want to, but like if you'd rather have armpit hair, like you can.
You're blowing my mind right now. I did not remember any of that.
I know. I didn't remember any of that either. Like, and unfortunately, it didn't stick with me. What stuck with me were none of the good lessons. And that's a lot of things that like a lot of people that are just a little bit older than us didn't have. Yeah. So shout out American Girl. This book was a sacred text. And I remember at sleepovers. Just looking at this book.
And talking about it so much, for sure.
Yeah, so much mystery.
It was a gift.
Anyways, that's my first one.
A great first one, honestly. A cornerstone of our identities. So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, what do you have?
My second book is Chicken Soup for the Soul. These books, I don't know why, profoundly impacted me. I don't even know how I got the first one.
And there's like a million derivatives, right? Like chicken soup for 11-year-old girls with red hair and our play soccer. Like it gets very specific.
I think the original one I read was like Chicken Soup for the Girl's Soul or Chicken Soup for the Teen Soul or something, or the Kid's Soul. It was definitely a younger version. But I ended up going and reading a lot more as I continued my obsession with these. So basically how these were founded, a little history. Two motivational speakers named Jack Canfield and Mark Hansen, they collaborated and wrote a Chicken Soup for the Soul book, compiling stories they had heard from their audiences as motivational speakers. And it was rejected by like a bunch of publishers. And finally, this small self-help publisher called HCI accepted their book, and I'm certainly think they're glad that they did, because it is a phenomenon. It has been translated into 43 languages, and they have over 250 books, like you said, the young adult redhead playing soccer. So they have the dog lover's soul, the grandparent's soul, the
dog
soul.
lover's soul.
Yes. And I found one today on Amazon that's like pet stories. So they have multiple of those. But yeah, it has over 500 million copies sold. But my question was, why did I love these books so much at like age 10? I have no idea. But I tried Googling it. And I found this article that said, I wanted to read this quote. Together, these maudlin snapshots contained every cliche of adolescence, the all-important school dance, the butterflies around a crush, the sleepovers and hours-long phone calls, the ever-present threat of humiliation, not even a threat really, but a shimmer of low-level atmospherics as if embarrassment was the musical key in which your experiences were scored. But I think that was it. Like, as a kid, you don't really like know what's going to happen in life, and it's kind of nice to read something that's like always going to be inspiring, but also make you cry, but like have a good note at the end. And another article I read called it like pre-Netflix binge because the stories were so short. They would be like 3 pages long. But it would be like a complete story. So you could just read so many back to back to back. And also I remembered I somehow reached into the depths of my brain and remembered the show I really liked around the same age called If You Really Knew Me. Did you ever watch the show? It was on MTV.
No, I wasn't allowed to watch MTV.
Yeah, I don't think I was either, but like when my parents were at home, I would watch it. But this one was called If You Really Knew Me, and it basically followed these like motivational speaker guys who would go to high schools and they would do that cheesy activity that's like cross the line if you have ever, been bullied, and people would walk across the line. And then they would do these like group like talks and everyone would be crying and they would be like, we're sorry, we're bullying you for being a nerd. And so I would watch those and just cry too. Like it was the same feeling, I feel like, of why I liked Chicken Soup for the Soul. I don't know. It's just, yeah, you haven't experienced a lot of life. So it's exactly what it says, just these snapshots of all these cliches of life, but it's always going to end positive. And I don't know, sometimes if you're like me and you like to feel like sad sometimes you have to hack your way into that. And these kind of shows and books make you like just sob hysterically for no reason. So I don't know. I just remember loving these books. I want to know if there's anyone else like me out there who loved like reading these books and crying, like sobbing in your room by yourself.
So did you like check these out from the library?
I guess I must have. That's the only way I really got books as a kid. So I don't know. But like you said there, I think a lot of them I was reading like was like Chicken Soup for the Kid's Soul. I think there was Chicken Soup for the Kid's Soul 2, Chicken Soup for the Girl's Soul. So I don't know that it was like the full adult ones necessarily. But
we should do a thing on our Instagram where we'd say like, pick which one isn't real.
That would be so funny.
Yeah,
okay, I'll work
because
on that.
there are so many.
There are too many. There are even more now, I'm sure.
I think that it's really cool that you like these. I didn't have these at my house. My mom thought these were corny, which tracks.
Well, they are. They are.
Yeah.
That's like the whole thing.
I think my grandma had one at her house.
For sure.
This is also a book that would be at your grandma's house in the bathroom.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
because you can just read one little story and like, I think that's the appeal. The stories are really brief and they'll be like little poems interspersed or motivational quotes. So you can just, it's one of those things you can read just one little section and then put it down and then come back later. So yeah, I don't know. I loved them. Please comment on our Instagram post about this episode and let me know I'm not the only weirdo that loved these books as a impressionable aged youth. And also, if you remember If You Really Knew Me from MTV, I would love to discuss that further. Please tell us your next book.
That is starting If You Really Knew Me.
Yeah.
That is like, it is like a deep, like I forgot it. It's like back in the very back of my brain. I'm starting to remember that.
Yes, I loved that show.
So thank you for sparking that for me.
You're
That's
welcome.
funny that's what you watched on MTV.
Well, okay, I also watched Teen Mom. You know I love Teen Mom. We both love Teen Mom.
Teen Mom, just...
Teen Mom 2, specifically, shout out to those guys.
Yeah, Teen Mom 2 is definitely
Maid, I loved Maid. Parental Control.
Hit My Ride.
Didn't watch that one.
Rock of Love with Bret Michaels.
I didn't watch that one either. I don't know.
Snoop Dogg's House.
See,
what I'm saying
is
I
didn't watch.
You watched all of the more appropriate shows, and when I got access to MTV, I wanted to watch the most inappropriate ones.
That's correct.
Because it was contraband.
Yes, so. I am a rule follower at my heart.
I am not. Okay, my second book, and want to issue just a warning here for anyone who grew up in evangelical, specifically Pentecostal church growing up. It's going to take you back. And this book is This Present Darkness by Frank Peretti. Oh, God. All right. So I read this book when I was in late middle school, early high school. So thankfully not earlier, but this plot follows a young pastor and in a small town, a young pastor and this reporter from New York as they fight a satanic cult that is bent on conquering the little town, while at the same time, there's an unseen battle going on between angels and demons. So the name, this present darkness, is derived from the Bible verse, Ephesians 6:12, for we are not contending against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the world rulers of this present darkness, against the spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. So, in the tradition we grew up in, there was a big emphasis on spiritual warfare.
Yes.
And it's so freaking funny that, like, I was at a dinner party a couple months ago and I tried, like, somehow this came up and I was trying to explain this to some of my friends here and they were like, what?
Yeah, no, it's the idea that I never read this book, but I still understand because in our upbringing, it is very real that there are literally at all times angels and demons like physically fighting around you. You just can't see them. And bad things that happen in your life, or if you're feeling depression, or if something weird's happening, or you get off vibes even, it is an actual demon trying to influence your life.
Correct.
And the angels are losing at that moment.
And when I say in this book, that is portrayed by literally there's like this pastor and there's like this satanic cult in the town. Corresponding to those people are demons and angels that are assigned to them.
Yes.
So like in these so in this book, the angels are like an army, and there's like Gabriel's the head angel, and they're like bringing in like different levels of people, but they'll like assign. It's kind of like It's in a Wonderful Life. You have like a guardian angel, which sounds really nice, but you also have a specifically assigned demon, and they will like. It's portrayed in the book like in the demon angel POV. They're like digging their talons into you, or like your car breaks down. It's because a demon took a sword, like a demon sword, and like put it into the engine of your car.
That's correct.
So what does this teach us? This teaches us that mental illness isn't real. That if you feel stressed about something, it's because a demon is probably like lurking near you in the room. Yes, and all you have to do is like make it go away.
Say like Jesus is Lord, and I don't mean to make light of these beliefs.
I don't either, because and I say this with the most like understanding possible, because this was my life. Like, yeah, I lived like this.
I too believed this.
I don't make it sound like people who think this are stupid in any way.
No, yeah.
I'm not even saying that, hey, it's totally untrue, like whatever. I'm just saying that what this kind of thing teaches people, especially young people who read it, is that if something happens to you, it's not because of a consequence of your own action. It's not because of a coincidence, or maybe you feel like, you're having a panic attack because you have a chronic mental health condition.
Sure.
It's happening because of this greater battle that's going
warfare.
On. And all you need to do is be more faithful.
And pray more, yeah.
Right. And so that taught me that just left my anxiety disorder undiagnosed for decades.
Correct.
So... yeah, I would say this did build me in a bad way, but it's also still iconic, and just an iconic part of my adolescence. It's kind of like, I would lump this in with like the Left Behind books. Like,
yeah, same vibes.
I was joking with Zach last night because I thought he was in the kitchen, and I walked in the kitchen, he wasn't there, and I was like, Zach? And I found him, and I was like, I thought you got raptured, and like made a joke of it. But he was like, yeah, but for real, remember when we were kids and you couldn't find your mom in the grocery store and you thought she got raptured and you got left behind?
Yeah. Same kind of thing.
For real traumatic.
For real.
So, I don't recommend this book, but I had to talk about it. And if you can relate.
Again, let's just form a group of like-minded individuals
Yeah.
Join us. We'd love to talk more about it. So,
All right, Emily, what's your last book
okay, my
that
last
built you?
pick. This is the tip of the iceberg. Not even the top of the pyramid, I should say, not the tip of the iceberg. It is the Christy Miller series. Did you ever read these books? Or did we live different rating lives completely?
I don't okay, what I read was Karen Kingsbury.
Well, yes.
So
I can't even talk about that anymore. You guys know how I feel about Karen. So
wait, okay, I almost put this on my list, but I didn't.
Okay.
I just have to take a little left turn here before you start talking about this.
Put it out there. Safe space.
Did you ever read Unlocked by Karen Kingsbury?
Which one was that about? I don't remember the name.
This is about a nonverbal autistic kid who ends up getting healed from his autism through the gift of song.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I remember it.
This is the most messed up freaking concept. This is the most horrendous.
Cancel Karen Kingsbury for A, the love triangle ending, B, this ableism.
So ableist. It's like God can heal you of your autism. Guys, it is God created neurodivergent people. Anyways, I read this in high school and I was like crying. I was like, yes, Jesus. But on the look back, like the summary of the plot is so foul. Yes. Anyways, I had to mention that. I was busy reading that while you were reading this.
It has 4.7 stars on Amazon. I just want to let that settle in there. Anyways, so Christy Miller was written by Robin Jones Gunn. And how I found these books was it was truly divine intervention, providence, because I was having a sleepover at my cousin's house and I saw on her bookshelf the Christy Miller series, Volume 1.
Which cousin?
Emily and Ellen, Greg and Allison. Shout out to you guys if you ever listen to this. Probably not. But
prove us wrong.
I was in Emily's room. We used to have a cousin with the same name as me. Don't worry about it. And I was sleeping on a little cot and I was looking at her bookshelf and I saw this book and I was like, hey, can I borrow that? So Volume 1, they were republished
It found
as like
you.
It found me.
Found you.
Like in Bible Man when he's digging through the dirt for no reason and he finds a giant Bible. That's how it was with me and Christy Miller.
Yeah.
So it was republished. There's 9 books in total. It was republished a couple years after it was originally published as Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. So they each have 3 books in them. And then there's also 3 more books that are like later when she's an adult, which I'll get into those. So these were published, and I shouldn't have been surprised, but they were published by Focus on the Family, which should tell you everything you need to know. So
a moment of silence for those who know.
Thank you. So that was my moment of silence. So Robin Jones Gunn, she wanted to be a missionary, like bad, and it shows. So she wrote this book about Christy Miller, who is this teen, starts when she's 15, and she goes to California for the summer.
Like the land of lawlessness?
Yes, to visit her friend, her aunt and uncle. She goes to stay with them in their beach house for the summer, which is like lit. If you ask me, I would love for an aunt and uncle of mine to have a beach house that I can come live at for the summer. So anyways, while she's there, she meets Todd, and he is like blonde hair, blue-eyed surfer boy, Christian Key. And they have like a little romance thing. He tells her about Jesus. She ends up being saved. It's so a whole
like
thing.
In the Frank Peretti universe, like Todd's angels would be like kind of casting their shadow also on what's her face.
And Christy. They're getting rid of her demons because they're like,
they're battling her.
Save
demons.
her.
Yeah.
So she gets saved. She becomes a Christian. And then a lot of stuff happens that doesn't even matter. She's always like, with her and Todd, it's like, he's always there and they date, they break up. He's like, I'm always going to be your friend, Christy. I'm a surfer and I love Jesus. And then he goes to surf in Hawaii for some reason. He's like a little older than her, I think. Then there's Rick, who's another guy who's like a little more worldly, and he's like, let's kiss and stuff. And then there's also some guy named Doug at some point, which I forgot about him. I just remembered Rick and Todd.
So she's just like pulling.
It's all about romance, which explains why I love it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's pulling. Mostly it's Todd, though. It's always Todd. Like, it's always going to be Todd.
Yeah.
And eventually she does end up with Todd. And Robin Jones Gunn, this is a quote from her, and not to make fun of her, But she said, a few weeks after the first book released, we received a letter from a young girl who said she prayed along with Christy as she was reading Summer Promise, which is the first book, and gave her life to the Lord. Because they have, of course, the Sinner's Prayer, which, if you know, you know, in her first Christy Miller book. Since that first letter, I've received thousands from girls all over the world who have come to know Christ through the role models in these novels. And she also went on later in that same article I was reading to say she kind of eventually went to, quote, Africa and met a girl there. And the girl was like, you don't need to come volunteer here in Africa. Your books are missionaries all over the world. So, like, you don't even need to come here to be a missionary.
Leave.
You go home. No, but she really does see her books that way as being a missionary. And the parts that mostly impacted me were she's not allowed to date till she's 16. So that also played a theme in my life. I swore off dating at one point, which was a product of this book and others.
Did you swear it off until you were 16 or just forever?
No, till I graduated high school, which, you know,
you didn't make it.
I didn't work. That didn't work out. Sorry.
But you did marry the person you dated.
I did. So, yeah, what's wrong with that?
There you go.
And so, much like Christy, I married my first boyfriend. So I was really inspired by her. But she, like, yeah, she was, like, always kind of torn between, like, the Christian life and then her other friends. And then eventually her family moves out to California. So that's how she continues to be here, like, beyond the first book. And then the second part is, this is a trope because there is a series of 3 books that came out later that are about her and Todd after they get married. So she does marry Todd. And in this book, yeah, I don't care. In these books, they have, like, a Bible study, and there's another couple in that Bible study who they don't kiss until their wedding day.
Okay.
And I vividly remember reading this because it was portrayed as, like, the most romantic, beautiful wedding ceremony that Christy and Todd had ever been to. It was like, just they were weeping. I was crying when they finally tenderly kissed. But you know what? If you've seen that clip from that TLC show, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And I will put a link in the show notes for those of you who want to be traumatized by this. It is not like that. If you choose to save your kiss for marriage, that's fine. But it is not going to be romantic and tender. It's going to be weird. And just know that.
Just know that. You know what? All respect to Jessa Duggar, I think it was Jessa, who she made this choice, but they did the kiss behind.
Can you call it a choice?
Well, she did that, but she did make the choice not to do it in front of people. So when they said, like, you can kiss the bride, they went behind, like, a closed door and kissed. Yeah, and I'm like, yes,
that's how you have to do it. If you want to do that, it's
embarrassing. Like, my dad officiated a wedding where the bride and groom saved their first kiss for marriage. And he describes what happened in front of him.
No.
He was like, oh God, it was a lot. And you can tell, like, he's standing up there, he's trying to act normal. But, like, come on, I don't want my first kiss to have been broadcasted.
Watched. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's
weird. Yeah. I mean,
also, I just feel like the public doesn't need to know if that's your first kiss.
Yes, just keep that to yourself. But we'll be able to know. Just know that.
We'll know, and we'll be judging.
So that impacted me because I did think, like, I never really thought I was going to do that, but that was a big thing in the culture when we were growing up. I feel like it wasn't just this book, but a lot of, like, people I knew, or, like, it was being pushed a lot. Like, don't just, save yourself for marriage. Save your first kiss. Go totally far. Just don't even hold hands.
I mean, honorable mentions for this episode would include I Kissed Dating Goodbye. Would include Redeeming Love.
Absolutely.
By Francine Rivers. Like, all of these, like...
Yeah. That was definitely permeating at this time. And we should probably do a whole other episode on that. Maybe when we're more healed. There's also, this is the weirdest thing, and I'll say this is the last part of these books, but there was a character fully based. Do you remember that missionary girl, like, Kisses with Katie?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She, like, went to Kenya or something and, like, adopted, like, 8 kids or something.
I think it was even more than that, but there was a character, I mean, not even a character, it was her. It was a girl named Katie in the books who did that, and Christy and Todd were going over to, wherever she lived in Africa to watch the watch her wedding because she eventually met a guy. She really did get married to someone after she had adopted all these kids. There's nothing wrong with her, but I just thought, wow, I remember that. And I'm like, that is weird that she fully inserted this real person
into a novel,
into this fictional book. And how did Christy and Todd even know her? I don't know. So yeah, this book profoundly impacted me. I definitely like the dating culture of it, the like, I don't know, the vibes, the saving your first kiss till marriage. It all impacted me. So, and I loved it though. Honestly, I kind of want to reread these books, Loki, and see how they are now.
Honestly,
probably not great.
If I had read it, I would have eaten it up. I mean, that sounds exactly up my alley.
Because it's like when we were younger, I did not read like romance books, obviously, but this was like as close as it could get, and it was like so romantic how Todd was like, I'm always going to be your friend, Christy, even though we're breaking up. And there's so many guys in her life, but it was all like pure, so it was kind of the best of both worlds, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my last pick.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like that pick. I think that it did good things for you generally.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It was fine.
My last one is The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants trilogy by Anne.
An amazing classic.
Brashares. Brashares? I've never actually said her last name out loud. Just read it a million times.
Yeah.
But this trilogy, I read this summer between 8th grade and 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I read all three of them. They are amazing. So, I mean, most people at least have probably seen the movie.
Sure.
It's about four friends, Bridget, Lena, Tibby, and Carmen, who have been best friends since before they were born, because their moms all went to the same yoga class and we're friends. And they were all like born in the same like month. And this is their first summer. The first book is like their first summer staying apart, or, you know, one of them's going to camp and one's visiting their dad or whatever. Yeah. And they find a pair of pants that magically fits all four of them, who have very different figures and whatever. And so it's the story of them sharing the pants and the summers that follow. Honestly, I could cry thinking about these books. And
yeah.
I wanted to pick a different, like I was originally thinking about doing a different book, but I didn't want it to be too depressing because, so I wanted to do like I wanted to end it on a happy note. This trilogy did a few things for me. One, it did give me unrealistic expectations of high school and how mature I would be in high school. And
how many boyfriends you could get, or, you know, Greek like hot dudes to be interested in you. Yeah.
Yeah. Not once did I go to soccer camp and end up like kissing the coach that's in college.
Maybe doing a little more than kissing, but, you know.
Kissing, wink.
Fade to black.
Never once did I go to Greece and meet a really hot fisherman who happened to be my grandparents' rival. You know, whatever. But I will say, like, it taught me to like dream, and girls can have like really cool adventures.
Yeah.
And also, I think the really valuable part of this book is that there's no right way to be a young woman. And they showed four different paths, like four best friends who all have very different lives and experiences. One of them is an athlete, and she's like the classic pretty girl. One of them is quiet and shy and more modest and reserved. And one of them is like punk and into like making movies and like video games and dyeing her hair black. And one of them is Puerto Rican, and, you know, she's like supposed to be fat or something, and she's not. Like,
let's all just collectively apologize to America Ferrera for ever thinking that is like, not that being fat is even bad, but like why would we like she's morbidly obese?
Like, literally, honestly, I think in the movie, so she plays Carmen, she's probably like a size 10.
Yeah.
Like, it is like ridiculous. It's just,
yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, she has like angst, and there's just, you know, like she's trying to figure out who she is and whatever. Anyways, there's no right way to be a young woman. And that was really cool. Like, they're all four heroes of the story. Like, I think that's cool because sometimes those in like books and movies and TV, those type of people traditionally got like supporting roles.
Yeah.
Or they're side characters. But
Yeah.
they're each the main
their own
character.
Yeah.
Which I loved. And also, I mean, I related to it a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you know, me, you, and Emma are really long time friends. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I know what it's like to have a long lasting friendship. And that sometimes, like, throughout the trilogy, their friendships ebb and change.
Yeah.
And sometimes they grow apart, sometimes they grow together. They're also kind of like developing and like hitting milestones at different paces.
Yeah.
Which I loved having representation of that, because I also felt like this. Oh, I remember specifically one time in high school, like all the girls were talking about when they had their first kiss, and I hadn't, and I just made up a story because I was
so
like,
relatable.
I can't admit
Can't
that
say you never have. Yeah.
yeah, that's so embarrassing. So I just made it up.
Yeah.
And I hate that I did that. Like, adult
Yeah.
me hates that I felt embarrassed about that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I love this book. And I think it's like also that you don't have to like be the same as your friends, or you can, like you said, like we're long time friends, and I have other friends that I've been friends with for, you know, many decades. And it's like your interests are going to change. You know, you may not always do the same things or be in the same place, but you can still have a friendship. And I like that the somewhat magical realism of the pants fitting them all, like ties them together. But it's really just about being friends, even when things change or like distances between you. You can still keep your friendship. So I really like that.
yeah. And I think at one point in the series, like they actually lose the pants, but they stay friends, and they're like, it wasn't the pants keeping us together.
Yeah.
It was us.
We thought it was the pants. But sometimes you need something like that to be like,
Yeah.
oh, sometimes you need the pants.
Sometimes you need a symbol. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to do a whole episode about
We
this.
need to. Yes. I wanna reread
it because it's, and also if you've never read it, this is amazing summer reading. Like, this is the summer reading.
read. Yeah.
Like, please read this.
Yeah. I'm going to go check it out from the library.
Yeah, I'm very, very much in love with it. So.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think that concludes our episodes our conversation on the books that built us.
Yeah. Do you want to share a book you've read recently? Do you want me to go first?
Sure, I will share one.
Sure.
I haven't read anything recently that's worth sharing. So I'm going to pick something from the beginning of July that I didn't talk about.
Go for it.
Which is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood, which we went on record saying I was skeptical of.
Yes.
I think in our last book talk episode.
Yes.
And I was so pleasantly surprised.
I've heard a lot about that. Like, I've heard a lot of people say that. So, yeah, I'm excited.
It was good. It was actually good. And I thought that it was going to be fake dating. It wasn't, actually. It is rivals to lovers, but not enemies. I would say rivals. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I really liked it. So if you didn't like the second one, if you didn't like Love on the Brain, give this one a shot.
Try. Yeah.
It was good. And
I have it on hold, so I'm excited.
I will have to issue an apology. Ali Hazelwood, I'm sorry for doubting you.
You know what you're doing.
You know what you're doing. So
yeah, I feel like sometimes a second book is probably hard when your first book is so successful. So maybe she just struggled a little bit, and then you get that out of the way. Now maybe she can really like find her rhythm. So I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah. What about you?
Okay, so I read something I was really excited to read, which is Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang.
You read it. Was it good?
I read it. It was so good. Okay, so if you don't remember, this is a book that okay, so there's two friends who are both writers, and they're kind of more like frenemies, I would say. They really like kind of have a adjacent friendship, but the main character kind of has a contempt for the other girl. Athena, I think is her name. You know how bad I am at character names, but I'm going to call her Athena. She, so she's like, Athena's like an amazing, accomplished author. And then the other character, June, she is kind of like struggling to make it in the literary world. And kind of like her first book is like, okay, like she's barely kind of making it by. And to watch her frenemy kind of have the success is obviously difficult to see. And so then one night, Athena kind of dies very traumatically and suddenly in front of her. And while she's at her apartment, after her death, she finds a fully pretty much finished copy of a manuscript of her next book. And she takes it. And she decides basically the plot involves Athena being the kind of author who's like, I don't talk about my works in progress ever. I never show anyone anything I'm working on, like never talk about the plot or anything. So no one knew what she was working on when she died. And then June publishes it. She finds a publisher who really wants to work with her because it's an amazing book. She kind of like does finish it, and she does make edits to it and kind of like significantly changes it, but the structure is still Athena's. And her publisher kind of encourages her also to change her name. So her name is June, and she changes her name to be Juniper and then goes by her mother's maiden name, which I forget what exactly it is. It might be Song or something. But it's something that kind of makes her sound a little more racially ambiguous, because Athena was Asian American, and this the book is based on Chinese laborers in World War I. So it has a certain POV, and so it's not like it's one of those things where it's like, is what's she doing? Like, it's horrible, but she's trying to rationalize it to herself. She's like, well, I did write this book, and, I'm just doing what my publisher said and changing her name. But the main character is like, you love to hate her. She's not a good person. So I'll say, yeah, if you like a thriller or a mystery book with like a lot of suspense, this book reads very similarly to something like that, because you're always worried that June's going to kind of be found out or someone's going to figure out what's going on. There is a lot of like twists and turns, and it's very like kind of disturbing in some ways. And so if you also liked the plot, which I also highly recommend, very similar plot to this one in terms of an author stealing someone else's work. But it was really good. I really liked it. And, it's a very like timely read, I think, because there is a lot of discourse, especially I think about like Taylor Jenkins Reid writing Carrie Soto is back, and the talk about her kind of like writing from a Hispanic character's point of view, and was that the right thing to do? Did she do it appropriately? And so I think discourse like that goes right along with this book. Obviously she didn't steal that, so it's a completely different situation, but it's kind of similar, like the idea. So I really recommend this book. If you're into something suspenseful, it flew by. I couldn't put it down. It was so good.
That sounds really. I actually, as you were talking, I put on Hope and Libby.
Yeah, it's really good.
So I'm excited about that. Yeah. Really quick before we go, aren't we all really excited about Emily Henry's announcement of her new book?
We didn't even talk about it. I'm so happy. I am like, man, she's like the Taylor Swift of writing. You just get to enjoy something, and then something else comes out. It's incredible.
Like
How is she doing it? I know. But I'm happy. So thank you. And it sounds so good.
Oh God,
so I can't wait.
So good. It's called Funny Story. And the concept, I think, basically is that like two people that were dumped whose partners get together.
Yes.
Are going to maybe get together through a fake relationship.
Like, I kind of love it.
I need it.
April can't get her soon enough.
Please. All right, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.